Okay, so I am going to make this video mainly for Sam's, but anybody who wants to see how I play Pharaoh. It's not the greatest spec and I'm not the best, but just to show how I do it and maybe help Sam's improve her play a little bit. I know she has talked about wanting to get better DPS. You can see I'm in the Pharaoh spec and the talents that I have. Blood Scent is the first one. Gives me increased critical strike with my cat form. Displacer Beast. This one here really isn't that big. Displacer Beast just teleports me forward 25 yards. Always take Balance Affinity. It increases your cat abilities by 5 yards, so you don't have to be right up on the boss. It helps when there's pools and stuff underneath of you. Typhoon and Mass Entanglement I switch back and forth on depending on the fight. ANR use Typhoon more, it knocks them back. Mass Entanglement more on something like the Coven. That way you can tangle up a whole bunch of them. Jagged Wounds. Rip, Rake, and Thrash deal the same amount of damage, only it's faster damage. So it increases your damage per second. You see that I have Soul of the Forest, but that is because I have the ring that gives me that talent. Sabretooth, Ferocious Bite deals 20% increased damage. It's easier to use that than Savage Roar or Brutal Slash. Brutal Slash really doesn't increase your damage that much. But the best thing about Sabretooth is it always refreshes the duration of Rip. That's kind of very important. That means that's one extra button you don't have to use. And it saves you on combo points, so that you can use your combo points more in Ferocious Bite. And then Blood Talons. Blood Talons increases the damage of 2 cat abilities after you use Regrowth. So those are the talents I use. We'll take a look at the character. As you can see, Agility and Critical Strike are the most important. I used Mark of the Hidden Satyr, but Mark of the Claw works just as well. They're pretty equal in damage done. The Agility gem I have in here is the Saber's Eye. It's a very expensive gem, and I wouldn't use it in anything but a legendary. And then the other legendary I have is the Helm. That increases Tiger's Fury. Tiger's Fury gives you a pretty big buff. Now, as you see here on just my human form before I transfer into cat, I have Regrowth, my potion, Prowl, and then number 4 I have cat form. There's a reason for that I'll explain when we start attacking the boss. In cat form I have Rake, Shred, Regrowth, and Ferocious Bite on the first 4 buttons, and those are hotkeyed to the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then there's Ashbane's Frenzy, my AoE attacks, Thrash, and Swipe. Over here we have Berserk and Tiger's Fury, 2 important cooldowns. And then there's Prowl and Dash. I put Rip up here because I use the mouse to click that. And generally, if it's just a single boss fight, I don't have to use Rip that often. Now, always before pre-pull, you want to pre-dot up the boss before you actually attack him. So they'll do a DBM counter usually. I know when I'm tanking or Millie's tanking, we both do it. And what we do is, at about 5 seconds on the DBM counter, you'll click the Regrowth. about a second and a half cast. But as you see up here, it gives you your 2 stacks of blood talons. Those 2 blood talons will increase your first 2 cat abilities. And then you have your pre-pot, and you enter into prowl, and that'll automatically put you into cat form. The reason why you want to attack from cat form is because the prowl gives you an extra ability, gives you extra damage on your first ability used, which is going to be rake. So when the DBM counter gets to 5 seconds, you click your regrowth, your pot, your growl. You attack with rake first. Shred. Fill your bar up. Get all your points. Hit rip. Tiger's Fury. That. Rake. Shred. Fill the bars up again. Hit your regrowth. Ferocious Bite. Regrowth. Ferocious Bite. Ashman's Frenzy gives you 3. And you see the regrowth is glowing. And you want to push that before every Ferocious Bite, only when it's growing. When Ferocious Bite grows, that's because I have the 4-set bonus. That means I can use it twice. Now, sometimes, just as you're ready to click your regrowth, it won't light up anymore. That is why I put the cat form on card number 4. Always use Tiger's Fury, every cooldown, same with the search. Just pushing 1, 2, and I'm using 2 to fill my combo points. You can see it gets slower as it goes. Use Ashman's Frenzy every time. When your bar is full, 3 then 4, and 3 then 4, because I had to rock. Come back to 1. You can see that rip stays on the boss the whole time. Tiger's Fury. I have my proc on. Everything gets again my set bonus. Tiger's Fury's ready, but you use your Tiger's Fury, then your Ashman's Frenzy. Watch for the joke come up. Rip is staying up. Rake is staying up. Using Tiger's Fury and Berserk every cooldown. So you see, that is basically the first 4 spells you use. Once you have your Rick up and on the target, you don't have to refresh it all the time, but you want to make sure you get it on with the full 5 points, because as you see, you get more damage with full 5 points. By casting the regrowth before you cast your ferocious bite, when it's starting, you will get energy increase so that your ferocious bite does more damage. Now, as you see, the reason why I went down on here, you see my damage done and my DPS. The DPS doesn't look very high because after I stopped attacking, I still had bleed damage on him. So that's one of the bad things about Recount. So to sum it up, pre-attack, and you have to do it at 5 seconds on the counter because it takes about 5 seconds to get 3 casts off because of the cooldown. Use Regrowth, your Potion of Prolonged Power, and your Prowl. And then from Prowl, I don't know, my UI gives me a different bar. I had to make sure I put Rake and Shred on the other bar. You may have to do the same thing. Sorry about the coughing and such. Another potion to use is Old War. I use that. I usually pre-pot with Old War and then start with Prolonged Power later in the fight. I have drums on here, obviously, because they give us an increase when we're out questing or something. So, Sam, I hope that helps, and if you have any questions, let me know.